and this is the weekly review where this week we'll be reviewing AEW, Collision, and Dynamite. So we're going to look at Young Bucks versus GOA. We're going to look at a really good Plunder match on Collision, and followed by the main event there, which is a triple threat match there for the TNT title. Over on Dynamite, we're going to look at a really great TNT title match between Kyle Fletcher and Ciampa, a good tag match between the Young Bucks, the Rascals, and Private Party, and the main event that being the Women's World Title, and that the strap match between the champ Statlander and Tekla. Looking forward to talking more with you about that today. Also on this channel, we have Match Review Monday. So this week we did review Chops at the Castle. So that was Gunther versus Sheamus back at Clash at the Castle in 2022 for the Intercontinental title. And next week we're going to be looking at Global Wars between Ring of Honor and CMLL, and that was between Bandito and Mascara Dorada. So looking forward to talking to you guys about that. But now let's get into the Collision review. So to kick off Collision this week, we had a tag match between the Young Bucks, and that being Matt and Nick Jackson versus the Gates of Agony, and that is Bishop Khan and Toa Leona. So I really enjoyed this match. I have seen people saying how the Gates of Agony are underrated, and I do agree with that. I think there's a lot to like about them, and I think they have a big future to play in this tag division. This was a match to join the number one contender match. It's a tag match that we'll be talking about on Dynamite this week. So Young Bucks, they've got their quick combinations where Gates of Agony have got their strength advantage, and that was shown through them throwing the Bucks into each other. Some of the moves that I enjoyed in this match from the Young Bucks was like the assisted sliced bread, nice elevated drop kicks there. Gates of Agony tried a double nerve hold as well, but there was a really good bit there where Matt used a surprise stunner, which allowed him to get across for the hot tag. Now you also see with the Gates of Agony, they were, using Nick one stage when they caught him and threw him into Matt. So, you've got the Young Bucks using their speed and agility, and then that being countered by Gates of Agony. So talking about agility though, we did see Khan do a really nice drop kick in this match. And there was a catapult too. That turned into a headbutt. So some good combination there wrestling from Gates of Agony. Toa Leona does have a really nice Samoan backdrop, which I think he should use more where he can. I'd love to see an Avalanche one of that in a match. Hopefully they could use that maybe to win the tag titles one day. Countering that though, you've got Nick's momentum combos, which are just great to see when Nick is really going and he's just covering the ring and he's jumping and he's flipping and he's kicking and he's everywhere basically. And you can see that sort of combination where he did a stomp into a backbreaker, and he's also got a really nice Escalera as well. Now we did see Gates of Agony doing some of their own jumps in this match there, and there was a really nice toss into a shoulder tackle too. But you will see in any Young Bucks match, they will get into the super kicks at one stage, and I think that's where they have the advantage there. So in the end here, we did see the Young Bucks winning with the Meltzer driver, and them going on to Dynamite for that number one contender triple threat match. So we'll see how that plays out, and we'll talk about that later in the Dynamite review. So the next match on Collision was a singles match between Scorpio Sky and Kevin Knight. So the sort of offensive moves there we'll see from those, like Scorpio Sky's going to bring some good chops as well. He brought some really nice shoulder tackles in this match. It did start with a really good lockup there, and they moved around the ring nicely with some really good wrist control. But Kevin Knight, he has the speed to counter and bring some surprise to the match. They're thinking he's going to do one thing, he's going to spring up and do something else. And we did see some really good leaping ability from Kevin Knight in this match. He could leap to kick Scorpio Sky, in the turnbuckle. He's got a leaping lariat, which is really nice, which he used to counter Scorpio on the ramp. And he can also do a really good low shoulder tackle, which we saw in this match. Now, I did enjoy Scorpio Sky's neckbreaker combination in this match, and he did do a nice knee and lariat combo as well. Not suplex off the turnbuckle, but that leaping ability, that athleticism of the Jet, the leaping DDT, and then the leaping Hurricane Runner into the lariat, that is just really unmatched at the moment. And this is where I think we're going to see the Jet really have a great 2026. And hopefully there's a trios match, maybe at Revolution, which we'll get to see that on that stage as well. Kevin Knight did get the win here via the UFO splash. And we'll see where that goes. Will it lead to a trios match with Team Skyflight? I suspect it probably will on Collision, I would say. Forward to seeing what else the Jet has for us in 2026. So the next match here was a singles match in the women's division between Mina Shirakawa and Veda Van. So I did like how at the start they highlighted that these two had tagged previously for New Japan and their American shows back in 2024. And interestingly too, we did see some dueling chants as well, which is really great to see support for Veda Van. Would really like to see her get more of a platform on Collision, and especially on Ring of Honor. So Vita did have some really good chop combinations and a really nice axe style kick there, but Mina, she was bringing all of her offense. So working through her offense here, we saw her sling blade, her rolling elbow strikes, her kicking game, tornado over the rope, him working the elbow, another top rope sling blade, so and an Orican as well. So Mina did get the win here with the figure four. So we're interested to see where we go to with Mina. She has been the Ring of Honor television champion last year, so she has held some singles gold, but I'd like to see her definitely compete in TBS and get back to competing maybe in the Ring of Honor too. Hopefully, maybe against Athena for the world title there on a pay per view would be really good too. So the next match for Collision was a mixed tag, and this was a preparation match for the upcoming Grand Slam Australia. So, Grand Slam Australia event. So, it was a mixed tag between the Death Riders as in Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta, and they were against Skyflight and Dante Martin and Zeta Still with Christopher Daniels. We also saw Mox on commentary for this one too, which is always good fun. So Death Riders, the offense we saw here was a judo throw from Marina. Yuta's got a really good low shotgun drop kick as well. We saw Zeta did try to get a sleeper hold in here, but you're not going to compete at this stage with Marina's holds. So Zeta, I'm really glad that she tried that, but you're just not going to compete with her at this stage. Dante leaping into the ring, really good energy, good combinations there. Dante into a chop and then leaped to counter. And Zeta did bring some multiple bulldogs too. Yuta's going to bring those chops in the corner. He also used a very heelish move there of the fingernails down the back and those elbow strikes down. So Zeta tried a crossbody in this one, but then Marina was able to turn that into the mother's milk and get the win here. So good showing for Skyflight, but Death Riders are on the preparation now for that hair versus hair match here in Australia, upcoming this weekend, and very much looking to see how that one plays out. The next match for Collision, which is the fifth match, was Tekla versus Brittany Brooks. So it's Brittany Brooks backing up here from the Dynamite tapings. Not too much for this one. Tekla, bringing her great elbow strike and then getting the spear to win. And that's now leading to the women's title match, which we'll discuss in the Dynamite review. And that's going to be a strap match between Statlander and Tekla. So very keen on that one. And I do hope that that main event, when we talk about that in the Dynamite review later this week. Now, this one, the sixth match of the night, which is an 8-man tag team parking lot fight. So what was really interesting from commentary was they noted it was the first fight outside of Daly's place, first parking lot fight outside of Daly's place. So I've got a lot to go through here because as I hoped for, it was going to be a plunder match, and it was. So we had the Rascals, and that was Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz teaming with Eddie Kingston and Ortiz, and they were facing GYV, that being James Drake and Zach Gibson, versus Big Bill and Brian Keith. So lots of different type of offense we saw in this match. We saw Zachary Wentz using a garbage lid there. We saw Eddie with the sledgehammer into the car window. GYV did have a bin combination there on Ortiz. Big Bill took out a rear vision view mirror as well. We saw the hot flyer flame off the top of a limo. We saw Ortiz using a bonnet. We saw a wrench into Zachary Wrench by GYV. Big Bill through Desmond Xavier over a limo at one stage. We did see Brian Keith with a bin over his head, and the Rascals using a kick combination on him. Eddie Kingston just running wild with a kendo stick. We did see Eddie get choked with some scarves by GYV. Brian Keith was using a hammer on Desmond Xavier as well. Eventually, Desmond Xavier did get his own action with the kendo stick, and we did see Eddie and Ortiz do a suplex there on a Big Bill on top of the limo. Now, we also did see Isla Dawn involved in this match, which was really good to see, something a bit different as well. But from the Rascals side, they did bring in Myron Reed there to remove Isla Dawn from the match. I did really enjoy too when Big Bill put Zachary Wentz through the windscreen. So it was just a lot of action there on the rooftop, lots of plunder. And Eddie did get the win here using the DDT on top of the limo. So lots of fun here. This collision to me felt very like front end back ended. So sort of you kicked off with the Young Bucks and Duo A to start the show was really good, and then this last part here with this parking lot fight and the match we're going to talk about in a sec too was really strong. So I really enjoyed this plunder match. Let me know what you think too. But I do enjoy when we get a bit of variety like this, and not just like a in the ring. Actually going outside was good to see. And the seventh match of Collision, which this week, which was the main event, and this was my match of Collision, was the AEW TNT title three-way match, and that was between the champion Tommaso Ciampa, Claudio Castagnoli, and Roderick Strong. So this, for me, there's lots of things I love about this. We did see chops, and we're going to get a lot of chops graphics for this one. So we did see Roderick Strong and Claudio get some chops there towards the start. Looking through the different types of combination offense we saw in this, we got Ciampa bringing the boot and his double combination there. Roderick Strong with a really nice drop kick in his knee strikes, and then Claudio's bringing his uppercut. We did see chopping between Ciampa and Claudio as well, and then it did eventually move into chops between Roderick Strong and Ciampa on the apron. Looking at Ciampa, we saw a really good knee on the barricade. Roderick Strong had some great intercept with his drop kick, which then did lead into a backbreaker and Tiger Driver and a Boston Crab. That did a really amazing carry and then drop into the commentary desk as well. And there was also a stomp in the crowd. Roderick Strong always bringing those leaping knees that are really crisp as well. Ciampa had the DDT on the ramp and had his own version of the Angel's Wings. And Claudio had his double sledgehammer from the top of the turnbuckle, and he did boot Roderick Strong back over the barricade at one stage. And of course, in any match that we do see Claudio, we're going to see the giant swing. So the bit that I really enjoyed here, the crescendo of this match, was when Roderick Strong was pinning Claudio after his combination there. Ciampa came through with that knee strike. That knee strike has become very deadly very quickly in AEW. So that knee strike was on Roderick Strong, which then allowed Ciampa to get the win and retain his title. So I really enjoyed this match. It definitely was my match of the week for Collision. Let me know what you thought of this match too. Now, this did set up a match for Dynamite, which we'll talk about in the Dynamite review, and that's between Ciampa the Champ and Kyle Fletcher, who was a champion before Mark Briscoe. So very much looking forward to talking about that one with you guys in the Dynamite review. So let me know what you thought of Collision, and now we'll get into the Dynamite review. Okay, so on Dynamite this week, to kick us off, we had a six-man tag match, and that was between the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, and Puck, which is the first time we've seen that trio, versus the Don Callis family, and that was Josh Alexander, Konosuke Takeshita, and Mark Davis. So I had a really fun time with this opener. Looking at their offenses, the Death Riders, we're going to see chops from Mox there, but Davis did chop back, which is always very welcome. We did see Davis getting some chops on Claudio as well. Claudio did actually lift Davis up in the air, which was really good. The way he did that was really powerful, showed his great base. But Takeshita in that match, he was locked on to Mox, and that's leading into their match here at Grand Slam. So great to see Takeshita showing that aggression towards Mox. We did see on the Death Rider side some running uppercuts into the backbreaker on Takeshita by Claudio. And Claudio will always bring that giant swing into the match. Now, one thing I did notice with the Don Callis family too, they were attacking Pac's arm to try and weaken him in the match, because I always find Pac really dangerous in any match, in any sort of scenario. We did see Mox and Takeshita having a really good back and forth with some really great elbow strikes, but that was ended there with Mox with a really sharp lariat. On the Don Callis side, we did see a really good sequence of release suplexes for each team member there getting one in. And on the other side, we saw a really good combo there from Mox, which ended in a cutter. Now, Mox did get the win here with the Death Rider, but I really enjoyed this as an opener, and it's really starting to see a lot more combinations with the Death Riders versus the Don Callis family. Where this is heading, I'm not sure yet. Maybe a multi-man match revolution. And it feels like it's on its way to blood and guts eventually down the track, but probably before then, maybe anarchy in the arena somewhere. But a really good opener, and I really enjoyed that. So the next match on Dynamite this week was the TNT title match, and that was between the champ Tommaso Ciampa versus Kyle Fletcher, who was the previous champ, just 2 iterations before. So Kyle Fletcher, his offense, he's going to bring his kicks. He's going to bring a nice drop there on the apron. But Ciampa, he's got his kicks and chop combinations too. Now Fletcher did reply with his own chops and kick down there. Okay, Fletcher did really try to work Ciampa over in the match, but Ciampa will bring those knee strikes, including one on the outside on the stairs. That stairs then was also used for a really nice psycho driller as well. And we did see a knee there that did lead to a kick out, but that knee has become very deadly very fast. Both wrestlers were brought down the match at one stage where they kicked each other to take each other down. Ciampa did have a really nice reverse DDT, and we did see him doing some very nice chops there on the top turnbuckle. Now, Kyle Fletcher, once he amps up, we're going to see his full offense. We're going to see the backdrop. We're going to see the power bomb. We're going to see those running kicks into the corner. We even saw another power bomb on the apron, and some more running kicks, which is one of my favorite attributes of him, is that real power into the corner with his kicks. We did see on Ciampa's side a reverse suplex. So a reverse release suplex into that knee. There was a kick out from that. Kyle did use his brainbuster too. That was kicked out. We saw another knee from Ciampa that was kicked out, and we did see Ciampa getting thrown into the corner face first, and then hit again with another knee. Ciampa did also use his knee again into a brainbuster. But talking about brainbusters, the winning move for this match was the sheer drop brainbuster by Kyle Fletcher to get the win, to get back the TNT title, which he will now bring here into Australia for Grand Slam. So really great match. Definitely was my match of the week for Dynamite. It could be the match of the week overall. Let me know what you think. But really great TNT title match. And both these two had really great chemistry, and I'm really excited to see what Ciampa does now when he moves on from this. What's next for him? But what can Kyle Fletcher do in his second reign as the TNT champion? Third match for Dynamite this week was Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong versus Clark Connors and Daniel Garcia. So a bit of a team up there with the Death Riders for Clark Connors. So in this match, the offense we saw from Clark Connors was those shoulder blocks again, which I'm really enjoying. And then Daniel Garcia is going to bring those chops as well. He brought them on both Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy. Of course, Roderick Strong is going to counter that with his own chops. Now, what I really noted in this match pretty early on was the tension between Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy. That did lead to Roderick Strong refusing to tag with Orange Cassidy. So that left Orange on his own. So we did see Daniel Garcia and Clark Connors double teaming on Orange Cassidy until Darby Allin removed Clark Connors from the match. So that led to one-on-one where Orange Cassidy did get the win here with the roll-up. So thinking about this one, we've got a lot of layers here. We've got the Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong tension there building. Maybe that leads to a match with stipulation at Revolution. We did see the Darby Allin and Clark Connors continuing their feud there. So a lot of layers there. Not a lot to talk about from the actual match itself. but it was layering there for other things outside of that. So very much enjoyed that and looking to see what goes on from there. The fourth match for Dynamite this week was the AEW World Tag Team number one contender three-way match. That's quite a mouthful. So in this match, we did see the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, with the Rascals, and this time it was a combination of Desmond Xavier and Myron Reed. So that was exciting to me because I had not seen Myron Reed really in the ring before, only on highlights on social media. And then we saw as the third team a returning Private Party, which we had not seen for over a year. So I've always enjoyed their work and was very excited when they did previously win the tag title. So I was very happy to see them back. And that was a surprise to me because I did think it was going to be Cope and Christian. So very happy to see them back. Now, looking through this match, looking at the different offenses from the Young Bucks, you're going to see the Sunset Flip, the German Release Suplex combo there, Face Buster. The Rascals, they did open with their own speed combinations, some really nice kicks. Private Party bringing a cutter, bringing some nice combinations on the Rascals. Once Nick got going, we saw a really nice back elbow, which reminded me of Andrade's back elbow. And in all his, when he's running and rolling his combinations there. Matt did bring his rolling suplex. With the Rascals, we did see Desmond bring in a really nice shooting star press. Myron Reed brought that really nice cutter from jumping over the rope, something I had not seen before. And then on the Private Party side, we saw a huge leap by Isaiah and the shot stomps as well. That one's a bit of a mouthful, but I enjoyed that too. That really got the crowd going, and good to see Mark Quinn there bringing sort of his flair back into AEW. We did see a destroyer from the Young Bucks and a nice super kick into the BTE trigger, but before that, we did see Myron Reed bringing a really nice 450, and and Private Party had their own combo into a cutter. Now, this match was won by the Young Bucks using the Meltzer driver again, as we discussed on the Collision review. So that now leads them to being the number one contender for the tag titles against FTR. I do suspect that will be at Revolution. That's the place I think will do it. Whether it has any stipulations, I don't know, because they've had matches before. So we'll see where that leads, but those tag teams are amazing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they put together there. Young Bucks with the win. And then the final match for Dynamite this week, only being 5 matches, but all good quality and really building out the storylines here in AEW at the moment, leading on the road to Revolution, was the AEW Women's World Title match. Stipulation this time was a strap match, and that was between Chris Statler, the champion, and Tekla. So this strap was noted by Danielson, who was on commentary. That was one he had previously used, and that would have been between him and Ricky Starks when they had their match. So I like that. There's a bit of story to the strap there, and hopefully something they can continue to use in AEW and sort of build a bit of legacy through some strap matches. Not that they happen very often. So Tekla, offense-wise, she used the strap on the outside and did actually pull Stat into the steps. But with Statlander, she has the power advantage, and she had a very fierce lariat at the start there. That was really great. And she was dragging Tekla around by the strap, so really using the advantage of her power and the strap. Tekla did slow the match down there for a bit using a submission with the strap, which I really liked. But we did see Statlander throwing Tekla around. She did throw her into the barricade. And one thing I liked a lot was pulling Tekla out of her spider crawl move. We haven't been able to see that before because no one's been connected to Tekla like that. So you're going to see Statlander bringing the power slams and a really nice discus lariat in this match. Tekla had her really good crossbody there. And what I really enjoyed was when she used the strap to hit Statlander on the top turnbuckle and then turned that into the spider suplex. Heading towards the end of this match, we did see some really nice offense by Statlander with the Blue Thunder Bomb and the Tombstone Pile Driver. There was a distraction in there from the Triangle of Madness, which then allowed Tekla to get the spear into the stomp and then get the win. So we congratulate Tekla on becoming the Women's World Champion in AEW for the first time. It was a really good match. I really enjoyed the stipulation. There's something different from recent women's world title matches. And I always enjoy Statlander's matches. So I look forward to seeing what she can do next too, whether that's try and chase the women's world title again or something else. And I'm really keen to see who faces Tekla in this reign. Be keen to see, hopefully she has a match at Revolution and we get a really good baby face against her. Those were my thoughts on Dynamite for this week. Let me know what you thought. Now we can look at the next week preview. Okay, so the next week preview, we're going to look at Grand Slam Australia. So very excited that that AEW are here in Australia again, and I'm hoping maybe next year to be able to go. So looking on Cage Match here, we can see the matches are the AEW Continental title between Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita. Very much looking for that. Towards that, I do think there might be a title change there. We'll wait and see, but I do think we'll see that here in Australia. We will see the mixed tornado tag team match between Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm versus the Death Riders of Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta, and that will be hair versus hair. So part of me thinks that Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm will win, but you just never know. It would be really interesting to see Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm have to shave their head. We'll see. All right, so we'll see the AEW Women's World Tag Team title match, that being between the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale versus Megabad, and that's Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. I'm predicting another title change. I think it's Megabad's title to win, and they'll do it this weekend here in Australia. So looking forward to seeing that, and if they do get the win, very much looking forward to see what they do with those titles. So moving on, we've got the AEW World Title #1 contender match. That is Andrade versus Hangman Adam Page. This will be really good. I would like Andrade to win and go to Revolution. I think that would be really interesting. I think he's got a lot of momentum right now, and I feel like AEW needs to capitalize on that. We've seen Hangman Page versus MJF before, and I'm sure we'll see it again many times. But I just feel like Andrade and MJF would be the way to go at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Now, Australians, AEW TNT title ladder match. Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe. This is number 7. They said this is the final chapter in this rivalry, so I hope so because it's 3-3. Let's just settle it in the 7th. Ladder match, that'll be a lot of fun. Kyle Fletcher being Australian, he's going to have the home ground advantage, which should be a lot of fun. And I do think Kyle will retain here. And I reckon it's just going to be really good. I reckon it's going to be a lot of fun. And I reckon it might even open the show, actually, just to get the crowd going. So we'll see. And then what I think might be maybe the main event or semi-main event will be the AEW World Title match, MJF versus Brody King. Brody King won that eliminator last week on Dynamite very fast, thanks to the Hangman distraction. I do believe MJF will retain here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to be using my little chops video a lot when I review that match from Brody King. I think the crowd's going to be loving MJF and all his antics and tactics and that. So it should be a lot of fun. And I do think MJF will retain and move on to Revolution. Over on the Dynamite side, we've got one match so far we know, but it's quite a match. It is Kenny Omega versus Swerve Strickland. That'll be really interesting because I have seen on social media that Kenny is not available for Revolution, so we'll see how that all pans out. Maybe he's going to be written off. But maybe Swerve's going to get the win, and I do think that may be the case that Swerve will win here. This is going to be really good. These guys are 2 heavyweights of AEW, both former world champs. It's going to be really good, and we'll see where that leads and see what else gets announced for Dynamite after Grand Slam Australia. So that's the preview for this week. Let me know what you're excited for. Don't forget to check out Match Review Monday next week, and we'll catch you next time for the weekly.